All right, so today is lesson 1.9, solving literal equations. It's the last lesson of unit 1. So go ahead and pause the video and get the notebook business taken care of. So what we're going to be doing in this, wow, this is really a mess. So what we're going to be doing in this unit is we're going to be finding a general mathematical rule using variables. So basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to take an equation that's a formula. For example, that is area equals length times width, area of a rectangle, and we're going to solve for, say, the length, or we're going to solve for the width. So we're going to use basic algebraic functions like adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing, just like we've been using, except now we're not going to end up with an answer like x equals 2. We're going to have letters or variables in our answer as well. So it's a little bit of a different way of thinking, but you're basically doing the same thing before. All right, so here's an example. Solve for pi. The formula is a equals pi r squared. So if you know your formulas, that is the formula for the area of a circle. The very first thing I like to do when I have a formula like this is I like to rewrite showing my operations. For example, this doesn't really show they're being multiplied, but they really are being multiplied. That's going to help me when I try to undo the operations when I'm trying to get the pi by itself. So this is telling me that I must solve for pi. That's what this says. So here is my pi right here. Okay, I'm going to draw my equal sign. That's the thing I'm trying to get by itself. So since pi is being multiplied by r squared, I simply have to divide both sides of the equation by r squared. And that is going to make these cancel out. So my pi is now by itself, which is what the direction asked me to do. And it is equal to a over r squared, or the area divided by r squared, and that is it. I'm done. As soon as what they asked me to find is by itself, I'm finished. So that's your goal, to isolate whatever it is they're asking you to do. Okay, this one says solve for w. So again, I'm going to rewrite my formula, showing my operation. So length times width times height. And it says solve for w. So I'm going to box in my w because that's going to stay right there. It's not going to move. Everything else is going to move, but not that. All right, so since these are being multiplied, I'm going to divide by L, but I'm also going to divide by H. If I do that to this side, one side, I have to do it to the other. So these L's and H's are going to cancel over here. That's going to leave me W is equal to the volume divided by length times height, which is the volume of a rectangular prism, a box, basically. Three-dimensional box. Okay, A is equal to 2B plus PH, solving for P. So this one comes up quite a bit for some reason. Oops, sorry about that. This one comes up quite a bit for some reason, so we're going to spend a little bit of time on it. Draw your equal sign. So I'm solving for P. So let's find the P. There it is. Okay, if we're solving equations, always the first thing we do is add and subtract. For example, if I have 2x plus 3 equals 9, for example, the first thing I would do is subtract 3 from both sides. This is not working very well. Okay, this is no different. Over here, I have to add and subtract first. So I've got two terms here. I've got this one and this one. This one is going to stay because it has the P in it. So I'm going to have to subtract 2B. So I'm going to get rid of, let me get rid of this stuff over here. I'm going to get rid of the 2B. So subtract 2B because this is a positive 2B. It didn't say it was negative, so we assume it's positive. So that means I have to subtract 2B over here. So now I'm looking at these canceling, and that is going to give me a minus 2b over here equals ph. Now let's not forget what it is we're solving for. I'm still going after the p, so I'm going to go ahead and box that in. All right, looks to me like if I get rid of that h, that everything will be fine. So don't forget, these two things are being multiplied. So the opposite of multiply is going to be divide. So if I divide that side by h, I'm going to divide this side by h. You could divide the whole thing by h, or you could do something, you could split it up into two pieces. I prefer that it doesn't really matter actually. It's easier. So let's just go with that for right now. In the next unit, we're going to be looking more at doing this, where you split it, but they are equal. All right, so the h's now cancel. So p is by itself, which is what I was supposed to do. I was supposed to get p by itself equals a minus 2b all over h, and I'm done. All right, solving for v. Okay, so this is similar. Why don't you go ahead and pause the video and see if you can solve this on your own. So again, you're going to start like this, locate your v term, and then eventually you're going to get v by itself. So give it a shot and see how you do. All right, so the first thing I did is I added 2g to both sides, which left me 2g plus n on the left and 4v on the right. Then I divided both sides by 4, which the 4's canceled out over here. And that left me with the v, which is what I was supposed to be finding. And v ended up being equal to 2g plus n divided by 4. All right, these ones with the fractions are always confusing to everybody, so let's just go ahead and talk about fractions again. I want to get rid of that 2 in the denominator. So what I want to do, since 1 is being divided by 2, I want to do the opposite of divide, which is multiply. So if I multiply both sides by 2, that will make the 2's cancel out. Yay! Okay, so now I have 2 times a, or 2a, is equal to 1 times b times h. Well, as you know, when I multiply 1 times something, I just get what I started with. 1 times negative 5 is negative 5, so on and so forth. So if I multiply 1 times b times h, I'm just going to end up with b times h. The 1 doesn't really need to be there. Okay, I'm after the b. So here's my b, which means the h is going to go away by division. They now cancel, so b is equal to 2a divided by h. All right, don't freak out because of the power of 2. It's okay. I'm going to be solving for a squared, so first I'm going to locate where that is, and it is right here. Now I'm going to rewrite, including my operations, so that I know that everything's being multiplied, and not forget that I'm going after the a squared. All right, so 4 is being divided by 3. So I'm going to do the opposite of divide, which is multiply. So if I multiply 4 by 3, pick a different color, and multiply this side by 3 also, these 3's will cancel right here. These will cancel. So that's going to give me 3. I'm going to go up here to the left. 3 times b equals 4 times a squared times x. Still going after the a squared. All right, it's getting a little clearer to me now. I'm going to have to make the 4 and the x go away. So 4 times x down here, 4 times x down here. The 4's will cancel, and the x's will cancel. So I'm left with my a squared is equal to 3 times b over 4 times x, and I'm done. I've achieved what they asked me to do. Solve for a squared. Okay, solve for y. You'll be doing this a lot the whole year, so please, please, please master this before you leave the video. Make sure you know how to do this. All right, so I'm solving for y. The first thing I want to do is locate my y, which is attached right here to the 3, but no big deal. I'll separate those later. So the first thing that's going to happen here is I'm going to add 4x to both sides. That will leave me with 3y equals 7 plus 4x. And then the last thing I need to do, of course, is to divide everything by 3. So here's what I was talking about. You can either divide the whole thing by 3, or you can divide each individual piece by 3, which is what we did here. When you're solving for y, it's better to split them, and you'll see why when we get to the next unit. Anyway, I'm going to make those cancel because they do. So y is going to be equal to, I'm going to move the x up front, 4x over 3. All I'm going to do is switch these positions. 7 over 3 plus 7 over 3 because this is a positive 7 over 3. So that's my final answer. All right, let's try another one. Locate your y. And since this is a positive 3x, I'm going to have to subtract 3x from both sides, which is going to make these cancel. So over here I've got 4y. Let's just get in the habit of moving our x term first. So I'm going to put my negative 3x first, and then this is a positive 8 because it doesn't say it's negative. All right, so now I have this going on right here. The last thing I have to do is divide by 4. So divide each thing by 4. That's going to give me y equals negative 3/4 x plus 2. All right, go ahead and try this one on your own. Pause the video and then come back when you're done. Okay, go ahead and check your work. Your final answer should be y equals 2/3 x plus 11 over 9. If you had 6/9 x for this, 2/3 is just the reduced version of that. So keep in mind that you should be reducing your fractions. Okay, one more. Try it on your own, and then come on back and see if you did it correctly. All right, so you should have ended up with y equals negative 7/2 x minus 9. Pause the video if you need to and correct your mistakes, but make sure that you're getting this right because this is really important. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.